So I think at this stage, most of us have seen the videos on some flat earth channels where they zoom in to a setting sun with the P900 and claim that by doing so, it lifts the sun back up into the sky. And this video is one example. It's entitled Research Flat Earth, P900 Sunset Zoom Sends the Sun Right Back Up into the Sky. Let's just watch the video. And what you see in this video is not the sun rising back up into the sky at all as you zoom in. It is simply the P900 camera readjusting the exposure value and reducing the amount of sun flare visible in the image. And that gives the appearance of the sun shrinking and also rising up above the water, because here we can see it is zoomed out and the sun flare is large enough that it appears to be touching the water. When we zoom in, that sun flare has reduced and therefore it appears that the sun is higher above the water. The sun is not moving at all, and what I'm going to do in the rest of this video is demonstrate how the P900 does in fact change the exposure value quite significantly as we zoom in and out on a light source. And the last part of my video is filming an actual sunset this afternoon with the exposure value locked to a specific setting so we don't get this change in the sun flare. So I currently have the P900 focused on this lamp in the hotel room, and this is the view through the monitor. You can see presently the shutter speed is 1/30th of a second. Watch what happens when I zoom in and that lamp fills up more of the frame. You can see the camera has adjusted the exposure value automatically, and it is now showing a shutter speed of 1/250th of a second. As I zoom out again, it will readjust back to 1/30th. Now when I zoom in, notice what happens to the brightness of the lamp. It appears overexposed initially, and then the camera adjusts. Now when we zoom out, look at the lighting on the surrounding walls. Initially, it looks dark, and when the camera adjusts the exposure again, you can see the illumination on the wall. And the same thing occurs when the camera is recording video. As you can see, when I zoom in on the lamp, the exposure value is changing. When I zoom out, the wall will initially appear dark, and then it will become more illuminated because the exposure value in the camera is changing. However, you can see the lamp itself is overexposed. When we zoom in, the exposure value changes, the lamp is no longer overexposed, and the wall behind appears quite dark. When we zoom out, the lamp itself is overexposed and the wall appears more illuminated. Now, one of the features with the P900 is that we can lock the exposure. You can see down the bottom it says AEL. When I lock the exposure, we will see that at the top. So the exposure value is now locked. When I zoom out, it's not going to change. And now you can see the wall behind does not appear illuminated. I can zoom in and out, and the exposure value is not changing. When I'm zoomed out, I can release the exposure lock. It will readjust automatically. I can lock the exposure to the new value. And what will happen now is that when I zoom in, the lamp will appear overexposed. And this is the same effect we can see in videos taken of the sun when we are zooming in and out and allowing the camera to adjust the exposure value automatically. The size of the sun flare will change significantly as the camera adjusts the exposure value automatically. What you'll see in the next part of the video is a sunset where I have locked the exposure value on the P900 and I continually zoom in and out, and you can see that there is no sun flare increasing or decreasing in size. The rate of motion of the sun as it is setting is constant, and once it disappears, no amount of zooming in is going to bring it back.